The skin book. It bled when she picked it up. That was the first wrong thing. Dr. Lena Rourke had lifted thousands of ancient texts from shelves and tombs across the world. She'd worn down her fingerprints on stone tablets and cracked scrolls so brittle they disintegrated if you breathed wrong. But she had never held a book that bled. It soaked slowly into her gloves, fresh, warm, and dark. Not dust, not ink. Blood. She froze. The tome was thick and bound in something disturbingly soft. At first glance it looked like leather, but close inspection made her stomach tighten. Pores, faint veins, and the unmistakable indentation of a fingerprint stretched across the bottom corner. It was skin. She had found it buried beneath the floorboards of St. Ignatius Monastery in northern Wales, hidden in a lead box under a cracked slab in the ossuary. The monks had sealed the room centuries ago. No record of its contents remained. There were no crosses, no candles, only a single stone table and the book resting almost expectantly at the center. No title on the cover, no inscription inside the box. Just that fleshy texture and the quiet sense that it had been waiting. Lena should have walked away, left it in the dark, reported the find and moved on. But the moment she touched it, she felt something. Not reverence, not fear, recognition. That night, long after the other researchers had left, she returned to the monastery's lower chamber with gloves, a lantern, and a scalpel, just in case. She placed the book on a table and opened it. There was no ink. The letters had been seared into the pages, scarred into the flesh as though someone had branded every line. The alphabet made no sense. Symbols shifted when she looked at them directly, danced when viewed from the corner of her eye. Her head throbbed. Her vision pulsed. Then the words changed, first into Hebrew, then Greek, then English, and then, impossibly, into her own handwriting. The first line read, "This is how the world was made, and why it must end." She read on, her heart pounding. It wasn't a religious text. It wasn't myth or metaphor. It was a draft, a blueprint of the universe written from the outside in. According to the book, this world wasn't created by a divine being out of love or light or even chaos. It was remembered, stitched together from the salvage of failed realities. Each galaxy a fragment, each human soul a recycled ember from previous broken selves. And something, someone, was still editing. The book named no God, only a presence. An architect who did not love or hate or even watch. It revised. Each war, each plague, each sudden tragedy. It wasn't fate. It was a correction. A red pen dragged across existence. Lena didn't realize how much time had passed until her lantern began to flicker. The air around her had grown dense, warm, breathing. She tried to close the book. It resisted. The pages clung to her fingers, as if the skin recognized skin. The final passage she read was only 3 words. "You found me." When the lantern died, darkness folded in like wet cloth. Lena stood alone in the silence, heart racing. She backed away from the book, but the room was different now, longer, endless. She could still see the table, but the walls had receded, or disappeared. She turned toward the stairs. They were gone. She didn't scream. She was a scientist, rational, focused. But in the dark, her thoughts twisted. What if you weren't the first to find it? What if everyone who read the book vanished, rewritten, forgotten? What if that's why no record exists? The ground beneath her feet softened, as if it too had once been something else. A hand? A face? She couldn't move. Behind her, the book turned a page on its own. She heard it speak, not in words, but in the trembling of her bones. You've read the truth. Now help me write the rest. And in the distance, across the skin of the world, the edits began. Some stories you don't tell, not because they aren't true, but because the moment you speak them aloud, they start looking for you.